What if showing up your true pride could save someone's life? Hey, this is Steph, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Podcast helping 2S LGBTQI+ people embrace self-love and self-respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. In this episode, you'll learn how to rebuild pride and identity after family rejection, shame, or silence, how storytelling and visibility can save lives, including Craig's unforgettable story, practical ways to show up for yourself and your community, even during difficult seasons like the holidays. Today's conversation is about identity, resilience, and the power of showing up for ourselves, for our community, and for those who feel unseen. Hello again, I'm Steph Vachon, and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQIA+ identity with pride through self-love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQIA+ spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone. And this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self-acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our own experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I won't tell anyone what to do or how to do things. Instead, I'll share my journey and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today, I'm so grateful to welcome Greg R. Baird, a global lecturer, storyteller, and advocate dedicated to LGBTQ+ civil rights, allyship, and community engagement. For more than 25 years, Greg has inspired audiences across the world with his powerful message of compassion, resilience, and the importance of showing up for one another. Greg, thank you so much for being here with us today, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You grew up in an environment without much love or acceptance, yet you chose to become someone who leads with compassion, inclusion, and mentorship. What helped you break that cycle and become the person you needed when you were young?
Great question. Yeah, I came from a family that had a lot of good morals and values, but not a lot of love. And I'm adopted child, and so is my brother, Doug, just two boys in the family. He's 2.5 years older. So he had similar experiences, different person, but we just never really felt supported or loved, even like with school projects, or I was the choir drama guy, although we only had choir in my school, small school. It just wasn't a very loving environment. And I always knew that things would be better. I don't know where that drive came from, but I always knew that things would be better once I got older. It was just getting to that point and where I was going to go. My parents wanted me to be a basketball player, a football player, and I wanted to be more artsy. And I was involved. I did magic shows growing up as a kid, as a clown.
Wow.
I know, crazy. And they did not like that at all. Oh no, they did not like that. And my dad was a businessman and he was a tall, handsome guy, and he was more this, the sports guy. But I followed my own passion and I fought it down. So that drive, I always was a person that battled and stood up for people that were marginalized. I grew up in a predominantly white community, but we had a lot of Latino, a lot of people that were from Mexico in my area that worked at different factories and different things out in the fields because it was a very farming community. And I had a lot of friends that I just liked people who they were. And those people were not expected or not accepted in my own home. So once I got out into college, boy, everything blossomed, and I got more involved just with the LGBT group, what we just called the gay group back in the day.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get onto that in a minute. But I just knew things would be better, and they did get better. But again, I was fighting against a lot what those family values and things that my parents wanted.
That's so interesting that, again, the more I interview people, the more I see that, our childhood, how either our parents or the environment want us to be instead of just listen and see who we are.
Yes, exactly. And the whole me coming out in the gay thing when I was younger, I was body shamed by my family. I was a chubby kid. Now, hugely obese, but I was a chubby kid. Or back in the day, they said, "Oh, your son's healthy." Yeah. And my mom used to do this awful thing. We had the Sears catalog back in the day. That was our mainstay. So even at Christmas, you circled the item you wanted, requesting Santa to bring. But there was male models in that. And my mom, this appalls people when I tell them this. My mom would take the male model picture out full length and would cut around it, chop the head off, and put my school picture of my head on the male model and stick it on the refrigerator. And she would say, "That's the son that I want."
No.
Yeah. And so, when you tell your child that, not only you're looking at this perfection, but you're being shamed by your own family that's supposed to love you and embrace you. I knew that was wrong, but there was, we had company coming over, and here's this thing in the refrigerator, on this high. So I always felt like I wasn't good enough. So when the gay issue came up, and I didn't know, you're talking, I'm 64. So you're like, what is going on with me? I knew I was interested in men, didn't think it was a possibility to even be married or in a relationship, because that's not the imagery that I saw. But I thought I had two strikes against me, chubby kid, and I was gay. And what do I do with this information? And so, again, it's been a really unique journey from then until now.
That catalog, I used to do this, but myself, I would look at it and look at all the models and be like, why can't I be like this,
Yes.
like them? I can't imagine having on top of it your mother, saying that and putting a picture on the fridge. Wow. Were you able to not look at it, not think about it, or really followed you all the time?
Here's this stunning male model, and you put a 12, 13-year-old kid's head on it. And then, it brought back a lot of things. And again, a lot of my healing has been able to talk about and share with my audiences about what I've been through, and telling parents, don't do this to your kid. Be more supportive, be more loving, you can't change them, be more accepting. I understand the healthy part, being a chubby kid, but there's ways of going around that than, desecrating somebody or embarrassing them. But I don't remember the photo. I remember the photo being on the fridge. I don't remember being a really big deal, but I remember my mom pointing towards it, and that would come and go. Like, the picture would be torn from something, and then a new one would go up. When I got into my teenage years, 15, 16 years old, that picture wasn't on the fridge anymore. It was more so when I was like pre-puberty kind of thing.
You mentioned the turning point involving a red-haired girl at Judy Shepard's lecture. Why was that moment so life-changing for you, and how did it influence the message you shared today?
I'm so glad you asked this question, because I love talking about this. It gets a little confusing, but the end all is a beautiful story. So I worked at North Central Michigan College in Petoskey, Michigan, and one of my jobs in my position was director of the lecture series. And I met a lot of extraordinary people. I actually do this lecture called The Three Women in My Life, which was Jeannie White Ginder, the mother of Ryan White, Judy Shepard, and of all people, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. But Judy had come, and this is Matthew Shepard's mother, had come to speak at my college. This was right around 1999, 2000, just a few years after Matt was killed on the fence in Laramie, Wyoming. and not a dry eye in the house. And we became very good friends. I got her to speak in a high school. And right around that time is when I was speaking what I'm doing right now, part-time. And I've been requested, it was about a month after she had spoken at the college, at my college. About a month later, I was asked to come down to Central Michigan University. And I say come down. And I did a program, and a lot of people showed up, so much the fact they had to move to a different venue for me to speak. So then a year later, so this is a year after Judy spoke, she called me, she goes, hey, Greg, I'm going to be at Central Michigan University, PFLAG, Parents, Friends, Lesbians, and Gays, is doing a reception for me before my program, and I want you to introduce me. Dennis, her husband, is unable to make it. And she asked me to be her 4+1. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll be there. So keep in mind, this was a year after I had spoke similar, like what she was doing. So I go down, was at the mixer before. It was great seeing her. My friend Tim had gone with me when I went to college with. He lived down there at Mount Pleasant, Michigan. So he was in the balcony and I was on stage introducing her. And there was probably about 2,000 people in the audience. It was packed. And mind you, this is just a few years after Matt was killed. So I'm up in the balcony after I had to walk all the way around. I go up the balcony and I'm sitting next to Tim with these students behind me. Tim's with me on my side. And there's this young girl right here, way off on the side of the other side of the theater, walking up. She goes, Greg, Greg, waving at me. And I'm like, all right. Didn't know who it was. And Tim said, do you know who that girl is? I said, no clue. And I was pointing to the front of the theater for her to come up and say hello. And she was just like, oh, excited and exhausted. She goes, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. And I said, do I know you? And she goes, well, not really. She goes, were you here a year ago and you spoke? And I go, yes, I was. She goes, I knew it was you. And she goes, I've always wanted to say hello if I saw you again. I go, well, thanks for saying hello. She goes, well, I'm not finished yet. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she said, well, I always said, if I ever ran into you again, I just want to thank you for speaking at the school here a year ago. It was really wonderful. I said, well, thanks for coming both to this lecture and to mine. That means a lot to me. And she goes, well, I'm not done yet. And Tim was like, well, you let her speak. And I was like, and she goes, well, there's one thing I didn't tell you. I wasn't going to come to your lecture. I was leaving my dorm room with my backpack, and I saw a sign on the door, a little flyer on the door promoting your lecture. And she goes, I guess I'll go. She goes, I decided to come. I came. I loved it. And it was wonderful. And I'm listening. I said, well, that's great. She goes, but I didn't tell you another thing. She goes, that backpack was full of my personal belongings because I left 2 maps in my dorm room of where my roommates could find my body because I was going to go kill myself. And my heart sank right there. And she goes, I saw the flyer on the door, and she goes, I thought, my last chance, I'm going to go listen to what this guy has to say. And she said, I came to the lecture and I was really enamored by what you had to say. I know you said to come out on our own terms and not so quickly. And she goes, I didn't listen to that. I went home the next day, came out to my family. A girl that I was dating there that was causing me a lot of trouble, an older student, I dumped her. I wasn't doing well in school. And I decided that I have a life to live and I'm going to graduate. And I want to tell you, I'm graduating in about another month and a half. And I always said, if I ever saw you again, I want to thank you for saving my life. My friend Tim was a puddle on the floor.
What?
And at this time,
wow,
this
is what I'm doing. I'm trying not to cry too much.
I was on the fence thinking about, should I do this for a career speaking or not? And Tim said, if that doesn't say what you should be doing for the rest of your life, I'm doing this in a very G-rated version, what you should be doing this for the rest of your life, you are a complete idiot. And the girl gave me a hug. I said, thank you. I was so moved. And she did a little skip thing. Off she ran, never saw her again. And that was my turning point for me, because later on I've had not a similar situation, but I've had other people say what a great influence it was. And then I had a former student of mine say, just want to let you know, you have these people that come up and hug you and thank you for your lecture, but just think of all the people that are silent that don't say anything.
Yes, exactly.
And so I will never forget. I've often wondered what happened to, I call her the red-haired girl, whatever happened to her, but I've never in my life had anybody tell me that. It was simply an amazing gift that was given to me.
Well, I'm trying not to cry still, but this is exactly why we need to show up even more today. This is why I'm doing this. You're reassuring me in what I'm trying to do right now with this podcast.
Fantastic.
And this is exactly why everybody, like even little thing can save a life. You know, that's a big thing what you're doing. But even
Thank you.
everybody as a person walking in the street, just show up that who we are, even just by sometimes wearing a t-shirt, or if you see someone,
Yep.
and just say, smile at a person that you see that is struggling, whatever, just one little thing can save someone's life. It's great work you're doing, but even more, it tells me even more what I have to keep doing. And thank you so much. That's great. Great story.
Yeah. The other thing I tell people is we're so, I picked this up, we're so like on our phones all the time, or
Yes.
computers, which
Yes.
it's important, but we really need to share our stories, because I'm a firm believer it changes hearts, minds, and policies. It
Yeah.
connects more with us. And we've gotten away from that. And as you probably can tell, and your viewers can tell, I'm a storyteller. And I think it really changes that. When I tell you the story about the red-haired girl, I've told a story hundreds of times, but I relive it in my head and I'm there. And that's the beauty of storytelling and the beauty of vlogging. I vlog and we all look like, oh, how many people have watched it, or how many, but if it reaches out to one person or two,
Yeah.
and it changes their life, you've done your job.
Exactly. And you never know, you might even help even more people. You never know.
Absolutely.
Great. Oh, that was good. Okay, I have to regroup.
Surprise.
I was like, well, I was kind of expecting something, but I thought, no, not that. So not that, like he's not going to say that, but this is what I was thinking at the end. And when you said it, I was like, I lost it. Hope, empowerment, and no, empowerment. I'll say that again. That's a hard word for me. It is empowerment. I have to say it many times before. There's words that it just won't stick to my mouth. Okay.
Right.
I'll say it again. Okay. Hope, empowerment, and resilience show up constant. That's another word. Show up constantly in your work. How do you personally keep showing up for the 2S LGBTQI+ community, especially in a moment where many people feel discouraged or exhausted?
I get that question from friends and also places I speak. Like, how do you show up in times like this in the United States, where I'm at in Chicago? How do you keep showing up when we hear such despair, or there's things going against the trans community, or, in general, all of us?
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, what's my other choice?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I have a lot of people that rely on me for a lot of peace. I post a lot of peaceful things, or posts, or things to think about, or vlogs. And we need to continue going on, because what is your legacy? What kind of community do you want to live in? And when we feel like our communities are being attacked, we need to show up. Not everybody's going to be a public speaker, a global speaker. Not everybody is going to want to walk in a pride parade. You do your own thing. I know, like my brother, he won't go to a pride. He'll go to a pride parade probably, but he wouldn't be in it. He does his own thing. And, whether it's a contribution, you give to an organization, you support people, I have friends here that go to the food bank and they donate their time, especially, with people that have food problems right now with their benefits or the pantry. And it's their own way. There's an organization called Gay for Good. You go out and do what you can and be with your community. You find a sense of community. I belong to some dinner groups that we get together. Not everything needs to surround a bar. Not everybody wants to go to a drag show. No offense to any drag show, but there's other things in the community to participate in, to rise up everybody and to bring people along. We need to be the unselfish neighbor and lend that hand across the street or next door to us and bring people on our journey.
Yeah, like you said, the other option is to hide. And I don't think that's an option. That's even more today. That's what we all have. Everybody can do even one little thing, but we have to show up even more because that's what they want. They want us to hide and stay at home. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, they want you to be complacent. And I use a phrase that we need to have co-conspirators with us. And our allies are very important to be with. We can't forget our allies. Our allies are there with us, but we have to remember the whole community as well. There's a lot of people that are hurting, the Black, brown communities, transgender community. We need to all pull together, because when I've told people, wouldn't you rather have a community that's healthy and loved and cared for than one that's in craziness and uncertainty? Because if you're loved in a community that's respected, you're more productive. You're more happy to be there. Things are more positive. And that's not happening with, in general, a lot of places in our world right now. We have to do better. We just can't sit back and allow things to happen. When we allow things to happen, that's where the trouble is.
And this is bullying. And I promised myself when I was young, I let the people bullied me and abused me because I felt so weak and so alone. But I promised myself that I was never, ever going to let anybody bully me again. So I think this is what we have to come up to as we grow up. We're like, no, I'm not going to go through this again. And not at my age. No.
No.
I've had enough of this. I'm not going to let, the bullying happening again. So
because you're a unique, you're a unique individual. We all are. We're human. And I tell people, we will never happen again. This life, we as a person will never happen again. So we need to be the best person that we are. And when the bullying person that bullies you treats you like trash, I dealt with so many in the past. And I was bullied a little bit growing up. I just thought if I made them laugh, they'd leave me alone, and they did. But we need to understand that the bullies are on their own awful mission, and they need to be educated and stuff. Do they want to? Probably not at the time, but you need to know that you're a better person and not worthless. And I think for a lot of school age kids, I remember bullying growing up with other individuals. And it was unfortunate that people didn't come to their aid. And we need to come to the aid of a lot of people and, be resilient and rise up and know that we're a worthy human being.
Why do you think this is happening in 2025?
Because I think people are angry. I think people are trying to justify their anger, justify their frustration. So let's take it out on other people. The bully. It's unfortunate because I think what has happened on the internet, and we see this happen all the time, you literally, if let's say somebody's out there like, oh, I have my hair done, or this is my new body. If you read their comments, they get dissected with hate terribly. Why are you there? Why are you doing that? No, your body's not great. No, you don't look good. Who cares? All these comments, because people are angry. We've done this kind of pitch and leave where we take a whole bag of garbage, metaphorically, and throw it on somebody's yard and light it on fire, and then we drive away without being responsible with what we're doing. And we need to look out for one another. But the internet, I don't know if that will ever get better. We need to ignore the comments. We need to move on, because there's just people out there that are so unhappy and they sit there and they comment. I get things every now and then from folks and like, you kind of question like, who are these people? Why are they saying that? You can't let it invade your spirit. They don't know you, and they're trying to wind you up.
Yeah, and we have to teach the kids to be able to see the difference between looking at the hate and looking at what you can look at on the web, on social media.
Correct.
Yeah, when I started the podcast, I knew like this was gonna happen, so I had decided from the start. I just start reading, and if I see that it's becoming not respectful, I just block and delete. I won't even fight. I won't even
No.
justify. I will just, because, well, first, if I keep reading them, it's poison, and it's not gonna, even if I argue, it's probably not gonna do anything. So I just, yeah, and it's perfect like that.
And I tend not to respond to political stuff,
Yeah.
posts. I tend not to, and then I'll see something and I'll like, I'm saying something and then I submit it and then I'll go, oh, why did I even respond to that?
Yeah.
Because I'm really passionate about the wellness of people and being a good human. And then I throw that out there just to respond back. And then later I'll go, I'm deleting that. I don't, and I've had some lost friendships in the past that were really wonderful. And then all of a sudden they turned against the LGBTQ plus community. I had to say goodbye. It's all about our own personal peace. It's all about our personal journey. And if they're not with me and supportive, then you're not part of my life.
Yeah, and if they're not willing to listen and see what's out there, also, there's nothing you can do. You can do like all the backflips you want in front of them. If they're not willing to understand or just open their mind, there's nothing you can do. So it's better.
Education is key. I used to talk in my lecture program of this curve that kind of went up, and the people on the right would be the ones that are with you 100%. They're like your cheerleaders. And the ones on the left don't want anything to do with you. Can't convince. They don't want to be educated. They don't want to hear about it. And the curve in the middle is, you know what? They're saying, I'll listen to you and let me see what you have to say. And I'm going to educate myself. But you got to be with those. It's the ones that want to be educated, the ones that are going to give you a listening ear when they normally wouldn't.
That's great. Yeah. The holiday season can be incredibly difficult for many in our community, from family rejection to loneliness. What heartfelt advice would you share for navigating the holidays with more peace? And as we step into the new year, what are your thoughts on setting healthy, meaningful resolutions without pressure or guilt?
The holidays have always been a challenging time for our community.
Mm.
And I know it's been a challenging one for me because my parents did not invest in my brother and I even before we came out, meaning they didn't contact us. We had some wonderful Christmases growing up as kids, but when my parents divorced, when I was 18, 19 years old, that was kind of it, very much. So you find friends that I hung out with, and now I call them chosen family. So you got to create your own joy. Don't rely your joy on others. I know the holiday season is rough for people because it's very family centered. Find your tribe. Find your people that you're with. If you have no family to go home to, or you're unwelcome at home, then create your chosen family. Create the people that love you and want you around, that you have a place at the table. I know for years I didn't feel that, and I kind of felt like the loner. Like people say, "Oh yeah, why don't you come by?" But I have a beautiful chosen family up in northern Michigan that I'll be seeing next week for Thanksgiving here in America. Christmas, I'll be alone. They're doing other plans. So I've accepted that. So, you do like a wellness day. I get up, maybe have something from your childhood for breakfast in the morning, and I turn on the parade or some foofy thing on TV that I like. And you have a day. Maybe you go to a movie. Right now, I don't have any plans. I may fix myself a nice dinner. I love to cook. So it's another day. Take a walk, enjoy the lights. Don't feel like you've been left out. Find the people that you're with. There's a lot of single people, couples that don't have a home to go to other than where they're at, but create that. I have another chosen family in Illinois that I'll see with on Friendsgiving. So you navigate that as best as you can. There's like, again, there's all these ads on TV of family dinners and
Yeah.
the turkey and bringing the green bean casserole and all this kind of stuff. But you got to create your own. LGBTQ plus folks are resilient and we rise up and we know what to do. So be positive. It has nothing to do with you. Everybody's on a different journey. So like I said, find your tribes, find the people that you're with, and don't expect them all to plan something. Maybe you need to plan something. Let's all get together.
Do you know what I was gonna say? Maybe there's someone out there that that is going to be also alone, and that could turn into such a beautiful
Oh yeah.
holiday, to invite that person and to make the first step and then get to know that with these people, and it might become something so wonderful. So yeah.
And you find those groups, even like the Gay to Go group, or there's other community groups that you can belong with way before the holidays where you have those connections.
Yeah.
Some people may be in a real remote area where the possibilities of that are maybe hours away.
Yeah.
So what I suggest is do a Zoom chat on Christmas with these people you connected with, and everybody brings their dinner while you're on a Zoom chat and eat and talk and do your thing. There's ways around it. I lived in a remote area, so I totally get it. But it doesn't always have to be with other LGBTQ plus people. Your allies are wonderful people that I'm with allies in both chosen family situations that I have. And looking on into 2026, rise up, be resilient. It's all about community. We're going to get through all these troubles if we are with each other and we check in on one another and associate. Don't isolate yourselves. Be there. Ask people, hey, how you doing? Let's go out for coffee. Or let's go out and get a drink or a bite to eat or a movie or something. But we have to rise up and be together and not deal with all the BS that's going on in our world, especially in my country. It's absolutely upside down, but it's temporary. And we have to remember that it's temporary. All this craziness, it's temporary. What you're feeling right now is going to be a whole lot better down the road. And that's why we all need to be together.
And do our part. This is going to make the time go faster if we do something about it. And great advice. That's good. So, Greg, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was great having you. Finally meet you. We've been chatting for quite a while.
Oh, thank you.
And also, people can follow you. I'm going to put your website in the bio, your Instagram profile also. So, thank you so much again. And hopefully, I'll meet you one day.
I would like that. That's great. And I wish you a lot of success in reaching out to everybody.
Thank you so much, Greg, for sharing your powerful story. I hope this conversation helped you to learn more about embracing your identity, strengthening your pride, and showing up with more resilience in your daily life. And if this episode offered you clarity, comfort, or even a moment of recognition, remember this. Showing your true pride might one day be the moment that saves someone else's life. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I'd love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story, and it has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Please reach out and send me an email today. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. So please join me every Monday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your true LGBTQIA plus identity with confidence and pride. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode on how to learn to love and respect yourself. And if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend or someone you know in our 2S LGBTQIA+ community so you can help them embrace self-love. It might seem like a small gesture, but it truly makes a huge difference. Wherever you are from in the world, we are all connected. We are family. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. One last thing before I go. Put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. You and me together. I am a beacon of hope and inspiration for others. Yes, I am a beacon of hope and inspiration for others. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection, to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together, we are moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me today and for being a part of this journey towards self-discovery and connection. I truly appreciate you. See you real soon. Ciao. Subscribe now and share to uplift, empower, and make a real difference in our community.